Hi, this is Alex, and welcome to the Doomed Planet podcast, episode 89. R.I.P. to Wall Street predator Thomas H. Lee.
Corporations are people, my friend.
Billionaire Thomas H. Lee, according to a lurid British tabloid, envy of Wall Street. Billionaire financier Thomas H. Lee shot himself in the head with his Smith & Wesson revolver. Female assistant found him dead on the floor of his office bathroom. I was not aware of this guy until now. You know, there are a lot of billionaires out there. This guy was worth $2 billion. The New York Times originally posted the news without showing cause of death. Now they have a proper obituary up there. Thomas H. Lee, a pioneer in leveraged buyouts, is dead at 78. And again, this is going to be a short episode. This guy's not that interesting. He's just a wealth guy moving money around, a Wall Street guy. You know, not that wonderful of a person. Born into wealth, he turned it into even greater wealth and was remembered as a, quote, kinder, gentler corporate raider. Started a leveraged buyout business in 1974. Before the era of swashbuckling corporate raiders reigned riches and fear on Wall Street, there was Thomas H. Lee, a private equity titan, earlier than practically anyone else. He cemented Boston as a hub of financiers who took over companies, slashed costs, as in fired people, and resold them quickly for a profit. Acquisitions of companies like Snapple and a slew of lesser-known names made him a billionaire. He died Thursday at 78. Medical examiner said it was a suicide caused with a firearm. He had a reputation for congeniality. You know, always smiling when you're stabbing the workers in the back or anyone else. I was impressed by his optimism and people-oriented approach, except for all the workers he fired during his career, said Steve Pagliuca, co-founder of Bain Capital. Mr. Lee was known as Tommy to friends, was born into great wealth, okay, which he parlayed into even greater wealth, right? They already stressed that. His grandfather, Robert Schiff, an immigrant from Russian Lithuania, founded the Shoe Corporation of America, which once sold 15% of all shoes in the nation. Again, we're reading the New York Times obituary here. While his father joined the family business, Mr. Lee set out on his own, armed with $150,000 from an inheritance. And he's a Wall Street chud that is kind of boring. There's no weird sexual stuff, no direct links to Jeffrey Epstein or his large airplane. Back to the lurid British tabloid. First responders found Lee lying on his side with a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. Life-saving efforts were unsuccessful. That's got to be a gruesome scene if they're actually trying to... What do you do in that case when someone's... don't want to... Yeah. Again, I must mention Kurt Cobain in every episode of every podcast I do, and when he killed himself, was that April something, 1994, there was, for people that were on the internet, there was a Kurt Cobain suicide photo. I think it was a CompuServe GIF file, and Kurt Cobain suicide photo was going viral among the nerds then that were online. And it was just a random photo of a suicide to the head gunshot victim. It was not Kurt. Thomas H. Lee. You know, I mean, he's 78 years old, so who knows what was happening in his mind, or if he would, didn't have some terminal illness. But, you got to make a big, I guess now I know who he is because he made a big display of ending his own life. You don't have to shoot yourself in the head. You could take fentanyl or something, go out, peacefully. Just like suicide. There's a picture in the British tabloid. Lee, 78, found dead. He is pictured here in his Manhattan offices with what is believed to be famed Jeff Koons' artwork, Gazing Ball, which has an estimated value of up to $60,000. Gazing Ball is an endless series. Oh, I see. It's the Mona Lisa Gazing Ball there in the background. Yeah, that's $60,000. That's what you get at the gift shop. That's not a real Koons. So I don't know where they came up with that number. Lee graduated from Harvard in 1965, and he went to work for the L.F. Rothschild and Company, an investment banking Wall Street thing. And that by the 80s had become the L.F. Rothschild, Unterberg, and Tobin Company. Don't ask me how I know that or how I might have met some of those people. In the New York Times in the early 80s, the 80s, these initial public offerings and stuff, they would be advertised in the business section. This quarter page ad, L.F. Rothschild and Company offering 1 million shares of so-and-so. So don't see that anymore. Lee was best known for the sale of Snapple. It's a tea in a jar thing for $1.7 billion in 1992. He initially required it for $135 million and invested $28 million into the business. And I will guarantee you that $28 million went to marketing because I remember it. Snapple was almost a quirky regional brand around New York, and then they thought, well, let's pump this up. And so these Wall Street guys come in with a strategic plan to, pump up the marketing and, try to muscle your way into every bodega in the country. And so, yes, he boosted the company's revenue from $95 million to $750 million a year before later selling. Snapple is kind of not even a thing these days. They were known for their glass wide mouth, I guess, was it a 16-ounce jar of tea or a bottle of tea? Truckers love these because you could pee into the bottle. Male truckers, that is. And, this is sugar water. This, fine. I love a good tasty iced tea with lots of sugar, but this product is just marketing and sugar water. Sadly, I went to the Snapple website, whatever, and they're not sold in the glass jars anymore. Snapple has converted to plastic. My brain is going to explode just knowing that.
I've been sent by the Flavorverse to find which new Snapple Elements is for you. These elements reign with agave cactus flavor. Light and refreshing. That's one succulent. New Snapple Elements. The Flavorverse has spoken.
In 2010, according to this lurid British tabloid, a fund controlled by Lee was sued by a trustee seeking to recoup money defrauded by notorious Ponzi schemer Bernie Madoff. And I know the right-wing media has been going apeshit over this connection. He's a respected art collector and was connected with New York's elite power brokers, including Bill and Hillary Clinton. Lee let the couple stay in his East Hampton, New York mansion following Hillary's unsuccessful 2008 presidential run. East Hampton is a long way away from East Palestine, Ohio. Let's put it that way. Lee had 2 children. He divorced his wife that he had married in 1968 and married a Southern belle, Ann Tenenbaum of Savannah, Georgia, in 1997. And they had 3 children. And, again, this not the most evil of billionaires, and it's sad when someone dies or dies by taking their own life, and you gotta feel for the kids. Thomas H. Lee, not evil, but definitely a Republican, although fairly frugal with his political donations. Thomas H. Lee Partners from Open Secrets Following the Money in Politics, opensecrets.org. In 2022, $123,000 he donated to the National Republican Congressional Committee, the National Republican Senatorial Committee, Tom Cotton, Marco Rubio, Liz Cheney, and the Democratic Majority for Israel. Private equity. Isn't that where you just borrow money from friendly banks to take over a corporation and then you strip that corporation of its assets? Or in the case of Snapple, you add value, perceived value, to the asset with marketing. A Restaurant Business magazine. Financier Thomas H. Lee dies at age 78. The good obituaries are always in the food magazines like Pizza Today and stuff. That's where the real movers and shakers are profiled. Thomas H. Lee, pioneer of private equity financing for restaurant companies, has died, found dead Thursday morning. The police have not revealed additional details. And by the time they do, we will have moved on. The podcast will be done and we won't care that much. Lee was involved with Restaurants Unlimited, parent company of Cinnabon, New York Restaurant Group, TGI Fridays. Acquisition in 2006 of baked goods chain now known as Dunkin, formerly Dunkin Donuts. Lee teamed up with Bain Capital, then run by Mitt Romney, and the Carlyle Group to buy the chain for $2.4 billion. The largest acquisition ever attempted. God, dogs. Mother. Dad.
Welcome to Dunkin', a new special. Dunkin' run, medium or large coffee, get a donut for an incremental $1. Like, how can it be this inexpensive and good?
Cream, no sugar.
I was gonna have to just give you 10 munchkins. You look a little lost. 1 second, I'm trying to find the bagels. Do I look familiar?
Oh.
This Dunkin' thing inspired other private equity firms to acquire restaurant chains. Outback Steakhouse. And Thomas H. Lee Partners acquired Aramark Contract Services and took the firm private. Aramark in trouble regarding poor labor practices, unsanitary food conditions, workers reporting those and getting fired. In 2013, an investigation by Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist Chris Hedges, a hyperbolic hero of ours, discovered that food provided to inmates at Burlington County Jail in New Jersey was substandard and spoiled.
Uniforms we wear say a lot. And with Aramark, you know you're fully covered.
Made prisoners sick with diarrhea and vomiting, maggots found in the food at Parnell Correction Facility in Jackson, Michigan. Okay, so this guy that just killed himself made a huge fortune, playing Wall Street games with acquiring and then selling a company that profits from private prisons.
Bad Billionaires, a podcast about people who should not exist.
Corporations are people, my friend. We can raise taxes on... Of course they are. Everything corporations earn ultimately goes to people. So, where do you think it goes? What? Whose pockets? Whose pockets? People's pockets. Okay, human beings, my friend.
5, 6, 7, 8. Goodbye, this is